Isaiah chapter 2. The word which Isaiah the son of Amos saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. But in the last days the mountain of the house of Jehovah will be established on the top of the mountains, and it will be lifted up above the hills, and all the nations will stream to it. And many peoples will come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of Jehovah, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may instruct us in his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For from Zion will go forth instruction, and the word of Jehovah from Jerusalem. He will judge between the nations, and will decide matters for many peoples. And they will beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning knives. Nation will not lift up sword against nation, nor will they learn war any more. House of Jacob, come, let us walk in the light of Jehovah. For you have abandoned your people, the house of Jacob, because they are full of customs from the east, and they are soothsayers like the Philistines, and they clasp hands with the children of foreigners. Their land is full of silver and gold, and their treasures are limitless. The land is also full of horses, and their chariots are limitless. And the land is full of idols. They bow down to the work of their hands, to that which their fingers have made. Thus the ordinary man is humbled, and the man of distinction is abased. But do not forgive them. Enter into the rock, and hide in the dust, from the dread of Jehovah, and from the splendor of his majesty. Man's haughty look will be abased, and the loftiness of men will be humbled. But Jehovah alone will be exalted in that day. For Jehovah of hosts will have a day over everything proud and lofty, and over everything lifted up that it may be abased, over all the cedars of Lebanon, which are lofty and lifted up, and over all the oaks of Bashan, over all the lofty mountains, and over all the hills that are lifted up, over every high tower, and over every fortified wall, over all the ships of Tarshish, and over all their pleasant artifacts. And the haughtiness of the ordinary man will be humbled, and the loftiness of the men of distinction will be abased. But Jehovah alone will be exalted in that day, and the idols will vanish completely, and men will go into caves in the rocks, and into holes in the dust, from the dread of Jehovah, and from the splendor of his majesty, when he arises to make the earth tremble. In that day a man will cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made for themselves, to bow down to the moles and to the bats, so that they may go into the crevices of the rocks, and into the clefts of the cliffs, from the dread of Jehovah, and from the splendor of his majesty, when he arises to make the earth tremble. Stop regarding man, whose life breath is in his nostrils, for of what value is he considered to be?